I think that's Jules. Yep. No, he's the other one giving a poop. Okay. Anyway, hi, I'm Christian for those who can hear me at the moment. I'm actually live pointing towards the White Rock nest, which is based from the camera position. The distance is about 100-120 feet, so the enormous lens here is helping to zoom in. It's quite a technology that enables this. First of all, it's the huge lens, and then it is the internet connection we have here, which is great. Then we have the support of Hancock, which is fantastic. The whole Hancock Wildlife Foundation that enables all this, and all the helpers, the volunteers, and so on. So we're actually pointing here, or I'm pointing at the moment, at the White Rock nest. As you probably know from all the cameras, we've got 2 eaglets there. I'm sure you've been following that. The advantage of the live webcams is that you can watch them 24/7 whenever the technology enables that. The idea here is to give some added value and also interactive discussions in future via this live channel, and especially when the eaglets grow up and they'll be flying around. That's something that you cannot possibly see with the webcams. And the idea is then to be more interactive. David Hancock will join as we build this up in the next days or weeks. It'll become more sophisticated, more interactive, and much more fun, I hope. The downside, of course, is the time that that we have for such live broadcasts is only when we don't work, which is in the morning, evenings, and weekends. But other than that, most of the people actually with the with Hancock Wildlife Foundation, as in many of these volunteer organizations, have a job and they have to earn money too. So that's the way it is. Anyway, I do devote my free time here for this, and hope that you'll enjoy a different view. At the moment, I've actually got 2 cameras. You're looking through the 800mm lens. I'm going to swap over to the other. Yes, I've swapped over to camera 2 at the moment, so I don't know. I don't think the microphone quality is that good because I unfortunately left my other microphone at home. So I'm just bending over to the other microphone and hope you hear me. I'm not sure if you do, but I think you do. Anyway, that's the wide angle view. I actually have a zoom on this, so I can zoom in from 200mm, and I'm slowly zooming out. It's at the moment it's high tide in White Rock. We had a low tide this morning, quite a good low tide. Quite a number of eagles on the beach. It was a light rain, and quite a few midshipmen fish. The midshipman season is on and high now. It's the most interesting season, actually. I'm sure David Hancock can tell you a lot more about this later. The best time to observe eagles is about 2 hours before low tide, because that's when all the midshipmen are caught in the tidal pools, and they're also buried underneath the mud. If you've seen some of my images of eagles actually digging in mud, that's exactly where it comes from. At the moment it's a bit windy. I hope that's not causing too much interference for the microphone. My apologies for that. I do have a windshield, actually a shield, what you call a dead cat, for the microphone, which I left at home. There's just so much technology here involved, so I'm not perfect, but I'm trying, okay? So I think next time there'll be much more. It'll get better with time. And I think you'll also get another view of how things are done here. Anyway, not much going on at the moment at the nest. They're both asleep. So hopefully later Ma and Pa will come in, and I'll comment more then. So just bear with me. I'll be here for another 2 hours. just short before sunset, and we'll be watching the eagles. Sometimes it gets a bit shaky up here. The slightest movement that I cause will cause a movement over the camera. I apologize for that. I already have an image stabilizer on the camera. You're watching at the moment with a magnification of around, let's see, what's it, 1000 millimeters? That's 20 magnification. I can go on all the way to 60 magnification. We will do that later when the eaglets wake up or when there's more action. I can get an incredible close-up that hopefully you'll enjoy. At the moment I'm still using 20 times magnification, which is still fairly large, much larger than what you get with normal binoculars. But we will get much closer views later when something happens, hopefully. I mean, that's the fun part. Eagles are not predictable. I do notice that their patterns do change quite a lot, and I'm sure that many of you who observe the cameras on a daily basis can verify that. Their patterns of behavior change very frequently. It changes according to the tides, the seasons, the way the eagles grow up, and so on. So it's very difficult to predict. But there are some fun stories that I do observe. For example, Pa is easy to distinguish Pa from a white-rock nest from Ma, not only because of the size, but mainly because of the escort of crows he gets. He's a very fierce predator on little crows. I see him often dive into the neighbor's tree here, followed by about 10 crows, and they are very intelligent, the crows, because they they observe him all the time, and they sort of know that there's a certain time when Pa goes straight for the crows. And I think the branching of the crows is only a few days, but they do breed several times. So just go back again. So Pa, with his good eagle eyes, is very aware of the pattern of the little crows, and then he will dive for them and actually catch them. I've seen it a few times. It's quite, well, it's a bit gruesome too, but that's the way nature is. And of course, crows are very intelligent, and they do remember exactly the type of eagle they've seen. They know who's Ma, they know who's Pa. They can distinguish all eagles on the beach, in fact. And I will immediately know when Pa comes down to the beach, because it's always an escort of crows. So it's fairly easy to know who's who. Ma, as far as I've seen, does not chase crows. You may have seen something different, I don't know. Maybe for those of you who've been following the eagles on a daily basis have seen that Ma has come in with crows. That this may be the case. I have not personally seen it. That's also why she's more left alone by the crows. But she does, I've seen incredible dives on the beach by her, going for midshipmen, and yeah, mainly midshipmen. I always know when it's her because she's got this incredible distinctive dive, and she seems to be less scared. She sometimes comes quite close to where I am. Very little bother, sometimes so close that it's too close for my camera to even take a picture, and I'm rather startled by her sudden appearance. A very skilled, very skilled huntress, I should say. And well, she does make it up to the nest. What is interesting about the way the eagles fly back to the nest is something you will not be able to observe so much from the live cameras, is they seldom go directly steep up to the nest. They will usually take a type of spiral up, which means similar to an airplane, when you know, the frustrating part when you come into come into a large airport, you will often see the airstrip below you and think, why doesn't the pilot just dive down? Well, he doesn't, because of the winds, of course, and the eagles are very much like large gliders, and they know the winds exactly, and I usually try and orient myself according to the way the wind blows, so that I can capture the eagles from the front side when they come in. So they usually come in a spiral anyway towards the nest, which gives me some time to take some of the marvelous pictures I've been able to take, because I know their patterns of behavior. It's just a lot of observation. But they do take me by surprise very often, because sometimes they take the direct route or some different routes. good. I think we're still live. I can see that here. I've even got a laptop up here, so it's very sophisticated. So I'm occasionally staring down to see whether we're still live, but as far as I can see, we are live. I hope there's not too much interference here from wind, because we do get these blasts of wind up here, of course, because we're higher, and that can interfere with the quality. So that's, if you hear that, don't worry about it. It's just the way the wind is. But I do have a good microphone attached to my camera actually, but I forgot the windshield. You can hear the train coming in. That happens about every hour or so. I'm sure you've heard that also through the live cams. The eagles don't worry about that anymore. Only the juveniles. Photographers know when the train comes in, it's a good time to get ready with your camera, because that's usually when some of the eagles that don't know the train will start flying upwards, and it's time to take good pictures. But in general, eagles are not at all worried about it. Anyways, our White Rock eagles, I'm sure, don't even hear the train anymore. Yeah, our two eaglets are still fast asleep. Still not very much going on. I don't know where Ma and Pa are at the moment, but I haven't seen them around much today. I don't know if you have been watching the cameras. Later, when we get more interactive, hopefully we can get in messages and do direct chats, live interviews and so on, which will be much more exciting. So at the moment, unfortunately, I'm holding a bit of a monologue, so you have to bear with me. That's only the beginning. We'll do a lot better in future. Anyway, for those who don't know, I'm Christian Sasse. I'm the White Rock Eagle photographer. I'm working together here with the Hancock Wildlife Foundation. David Hancock will be joining in later sessions when we get more live, and then it'll get much more interesting. I think also in the next weeks, as the eaglets grow up, it's going to be rather exciting when they start branching. 2 years ago, I witnessed that very closely. It was really exciting. That's also where the White Rock Eagle book came out. And if you do want to see something, you want to donate something to the Hancock Wildlife Foundation, do go for that book. Foundation always needs money. As you know, all foundations need money, so they're very happy about your donations. I just see, let's see, who's that? Yeah, I think I've seen Ma. You can hear her at the moment. She's off in another branch. I cannot see her, otherwise I would be directing my camera at her. But she's hidden somewhere in a tree to the south, to the direction of south. But so we are more or less looking west here. I should say southwest. Sorry, we're looking southwest. Actually, it's interesting. From here, I can look straight across to Point Roberts. I'm going to give you a quick view of that. Let's see if I can manage that. I'm just going to switch over to the other camera, and then try and give you. So, okay, I'm just going to give you a wide picture of the White Rock Nest, and then I'm going to look over to Point Roberts for 1 second. Okay, sorry about some technical issues at times. Do stay online and then you'll see it. I'm looking at Point Roberts at the moment. It's very hazy early in the morning, and I'll do some morning sessions from here too. You get an absolutely clear view of Point Roberts, where, as you know, Point Roberts is in the US. It's the tip right across Boundary Bay from here. If you look from White Rock across, you do see it. And in the morning, I can actually, if I put my camera on 60 times resolution, I can make out eagles on the other side. It's quite incredible, actually. I think the distance across there is at least 10 miles. And the resolution of the camera on a clear day is so good that I can actually make out a single eagle. It's absolutely phenomenal. But only early in the morning when the visibility is exceptional. Of course, at the moment it's very hazy, so it's not very interesting to see. Look over at Point Roberts. What we are planning, and hopefully that will work, is Ma often sits on one of these water markers that are sort of a quarter to halfway all the way across to Point Roberts. And she sits there, and we're trying to install, David Hancock is actually trying to install a second camera there. Because what I've noticed is that seems to be the White Rock marker that belongs to these eagles, and they're very, very meticulous about their territory, even out there, and they'll get quite furious if anybody else invades it. As far as we can tell, mushing occasionally and comes back, and so it's interesting to see if we can get a live camera out there, that you could actually see Ma flying in, and then we could show you the perspective from here as she comes back. Typically her flight out there would take several minutes. It's quite a distance. I often see them until they disappear completely out of my line of sight. I would be able to see them actually with this camera. Okay, we're looking at the nest again. Not much going on, so you can have some coffee and do what you do when you observe eagles. Wait patiently. For those of you who are just joining, I'm Christian Sasse. I've got my cameras up here and I've got good support from the Hancock Wildlife Foundation. So we're looking at the White Rock Eagle Nest. At the moment you'll be able to have a much better view through the live cameras actually that point directly at them. I don't think there's much movement, they're still sleeping. I don't know where Ma and Pa are at the moment. I think I heard Ma in a tree south of, it's about 300-400 feet from me, but I cannot see her at the moment. But usually they do come back at night. Hopefully they'll do that tonight. As the eagles grow up, as you know, the frequency of feeding increases, fly in and out a lot anymore because the eaglets are no longer threatened by some predators. We are right in the middle of the midshipman season here. Quite exciting to go down to the beach. You'll see as the tides are low, if you for example Google White Rock tides, you'll see the cycles of the tide. At the moment we've got exceptionally low tides, which is close to 0 meters, which is the lowest it can get. We had a very low tide this morning at around noon. The best time to go down to the beach and observe wildlife is 2 hours before the minimum of low tide. That's when all the midshipmen are caught in tidal pools, and that's when the crows and the eagles are there and there. Although there are so many you can often see their crops are completely full. They would sit there on a rock, you know, just around a low tide. So when the tide is lowest, that's when the eagles are usually completely knocked out by food. They're almost drunk, and they'll sit there completely tired, just staring. So it's not the best time for photography. The best time for photography is 2 hours before low tide, when there's really a lot of action going on. Now we have high tide again, quite a high tide. So I cannot see any rocks down there at the moment. The idea is later too, is when we have low tides, is to give you a direct view down to the beach. Hopefully there are more eagles. There were quite a few eagles down there this morning. There was light rain. It was a bit up to work like most people do, but I do enjoy my work, which is quite important. And I also thoroughly enjoy wildlife, and especially the eagles, and being able to share this is quite a privilege too. So it's actually a lot of fun. Okay, we're now on camera 2. That's more the wider angle. That's the wider view of, that's the way I see it. I'm approximately 70 millimeters from here. With a 70 millimeter lens, actually the correct proportion would be 50 millimeters, but it's more or less how I see it. And then as we zoom in, you can see much more already than I do with the naked eye. Yeah, I've worked out I've got about a 3 to 5 second delay between when I speak and when you hear it, so the delay is very acceptable. Um, it's actually quite got fairly good internet connection here, which is really marvelous. And I think the quality that you'll get across also from the camera, from my cameras here, from the lenses later once the eagles come in, I think you'll enjoy that. Sorry for the occasional shaking. I do move here, and the lift I'm up here at 45 feet is very sensitive to movement. I must say the first time when I went up here 2 weeks ago with David Hancock and he was steering this lift, I was quite scared of heights, but I've got used to it. I could have never imagined that 2 weeks later I would be broadcasting from here. You know, 40. But it's just something, if you're not used to it, it takes quite you know, you have to get around it. Now it doesn't worry me anymore, otherwise I wouldn't be doing this, but the first experience was a bit daunting. Makes me wonder, of course, about eagles. They certainly don't have any vertigo. At least I don't know of such cases. It's getting quite windy up here, so I hope there's not too much interference with the microphone. We have a typically southerly wind today. That's the you probably, if you noticed it from the live webcams that are installed over the nest, you can see often the pattern of the waves, and thereby you can see the wind direction, and that's usually the direction that the eagles take off. So if the eagles take off, they'll take off towards the ocean, towards the bay at the moment. Sometimes the wind direction does change, which makes it very interesting. But at the moment we've got strong wind, so if the eagles would come in, they would fly up directly, because the uplift that they get, the lift is quite incredible, so they can take the shortcut. Otherwise it's much more work. They'll take a long way, a route around to the nest, which sometimes takes them about a minute. Actually, it's quite a long journey. I think we'll see all that as the days progress. As I said, at the moment we've got strong wind, so they'll probably take the direct way up. Usually when you do photography, Try and place yourself with a back to the wind. Don't face the wind. I'm facing the wind at the moment, which means that the eagles are taking off into the direction of the wind. So you always want to look, if possible, put yourself with your back to the wind. Especially when you do eagle photography, try and put yourself, have the sun in the back if possible and have the wind in the back. I mean, that's very rare that you get both of these opportunities, but very often on the beach, when you get a wind that sort of comes in at a 45 degrees angle through the beach, walk in the direction of the wind, because all eagles will always take off into the wind. And it's important to know that, because if you want to have some beautiful eagle photography, that's the way to do it. And the sun is another factor, of course. Here in White Rock, the best opportunities for doing photography is definitely the morning, because the sun will come from behind and you'll have a low incident angle of the sun, which gives you very, very good contrast. The best photography I've done is definitely in the morning. Definitely. In the evenings, it's not easy because I'm looking directly into the sun. The sun is, of course, in the west at the moment. It'll go down in the northwest later, but it's coming directly from the west. Much more difficult for photography if you are, even if you are about 45 to 90 degrees away from the sun. It still is quite a challenge. Very often I see photographers going out at noon. You can, I mean, it's always good to go out whenever the opportunity is there, but as I said, do try, and if you do eagle photography, go 2 hours before low tide and try and get the moments when the low tide. It's important not to go too close to the eagles. That's why I also have a huge lens. It's all important to have respect because we have precious nature here. I think fortunately most people are aware of that. They do, you know, they do have their dogs on leashes. It's good to see that. Occasionally you do see some irresponsible people, but fortunately they're very few. Casts on a daily basis. The Jules got, I was pick at Pa. I said, Pa, why don't you get that crow for me, please? What are you doing here? it's, it's really comical sometimes to watch them. I'll probably do another broadcast early in the morning. I hope there's no rain. If there's rain, of course, I cannot do this. But I might be here at 7 a.m. I have to see what the weather's like. So I'm a bit cautious about announcing something that if I cannot promise it, I'd rather not announce it. But I might announce it 30 minutes prior. So if you are up tomorrow early, around 7 a.m., that's usually the best time to be here because there's a lot of action because as you know, the eagles are very hungry. You can see that, of course, on the webcams. That's the stream. What is that? Oh, Christ. I think we lost the stream. Sorry, sometimes the technology hicks up a bit. Very little going on today. Not sure why. It just is one of those days. I think mind power out somewhere. Don't even hear any crows, which is rather unusual because yesterday there was a whole orchestra here. So many crows, it was incredible. And today it's really quiet. It's rather windy, but very, very different. So, yeah, sorry, that's something I cannot control when the eagles come. Technology's there now, but we just have to be patient. Yeah, it's quite chilly up here. Got clouds moving in. It looks like we're going to have some more rain. We were very lucky in June. We had wonderful days. Very pleasant. but I think the forecast for the next days is not so good, so I'm not sure if I can do a live broadcast tomorrow morning. Not a lack of time, but the weather has to be stable. Yeah, we don't seem to be so lucky today. I don't know where Ma and Pa are. Yesterday they were both there, and of course I wasn't ready for broadcasting then. Just the way it goes. Today we're ready, and now there's no action, so we'll just have to wait. As you can see, it's quite cloudy at the moment. Yeah, it's looking quite dark out here now. So clouds are moving in. Let's see how much longer we can wait. Maybe it's not much use today. It's just windy and cloudy. Yeah. You can see some wings flapping in the nest now. But their heads haven't. I cannot even see their heads properly. Sometimes wonder why nests don't have roofs, huh? see what the weather forecast for tomorrow morning is. But I don't think it looks very good, unfortunately. You see the waves are picking up now. It's a lot stronger wind now coming directly. The wind direction has changed slightly. So I have no idea where Ma and Pa are. They certainly are not here. In fact, I see no eagles at the moment, which is probably a sign that a storm is coming. Usually at this time you would find a lot of juveniles flying past the nest. Nothing at the moment. So I think they sense that there's there's the turn of weather. Maybe not the best way to launch this, the best day, but there'll be better days. I hope the sound quality is okay. On this camera, unfortunately, I forgot the microphone, so there's going to be a lot of more wind interference. My apologies for that, but in future I will try and remember to bring that microphone. But you can see that there's quite a storm brewing up here. So if it picks up if the weather is going to get nasty, I'm going to disappear here very quickly, because it can get very, very unpleasant, and the equipment I have up here is certainly not rainproof. Usually the action happens as soon as I pack up, so probably Ma and Pa will come in, and then you can enjoy the webcams. They usually know when I pack up, then it's time to come. I'm joking. Actually, they're very cooperative. Only today, not. Probably because we're going live. Well. occasionally we do see some movement of wings, but not very much today. Maybe they're getting hungry. You probably see it much better from the webcam. Here comes a poop. It's amazing, they actually blow, they certainly do not poop into the wind, so they obviously understand, you know, nature already. They poop, facing the wind, which is completely correct. So they do understand wind. That's very helpful. See, there's a head finally, we can see that. See if we can zoom in even more. So incredible close-up now. 60 times magnification. So let's see if we see the little one somewhere there. So this is an incredible magnification. There you go. See if we can brighten it up a bit. Yeah, the movement that you're seeing is not the camera, that's a tree, okay? It's very windy, so the tree is shaking a lot up there. I mean, they have 120 feet up at least. So you do see quite a lot of swaying now, and the wind is also picking up here now, which is a sign that I think a storm's coming in. The wind is even more easterly now, so it's changing more and more east. I'm sure that'll be better in future, it's just the way it is. But anyway, the sessions will get more interesting in future, I'm sure, as we become much more interactive. That's the whole idea, and David Hancock will be joining in, of course. And I'm sure we can get guests and hopefully text messages coming in and with questions, and we'll try and answer them and make it more interesting. So I think what I'll do now is I'm going to sign off, because I have to pack up my gear before it gets really nasty here. So anyway, thank you for joining for now, and if you want to do something good, donate something to HancockWildlifeFoundation.org. They'll be very grateful, they need the funding. If you want to buy a White Rock book and enjoy the White Rock Eagles, you'll find it there. All the donation go to the Hancock Foundation. So I'm signing off now. Have a nice evening. I'll see how it is tomorrow. I might be out here tomorrow morning. I can't promise it. It's really the weather that'll determine it. Oh gosh, just you see, it's always when I sign off I start hearing Ma or Pa, but I'm hearing something in the background right now. I don't know if we're going to quickly get a glimpse of them. But yeah, I do hear them. So I'm just going to hang on. Maybe they are coming in. They always do that when I sign off. It's unbelievable. It's an amazing synchronization here. Let's just get the wide view. I do hear them. I can hear them very clearly. I don't know if you hear them, but they must be very, very close by. They are probably in the neighbor's garden. Somewhere behind a tree, I can't see them. Yeah, but they're choosing not to come over here. They're hidden somewhere in the tree. I cannot see them, Ma and Pa, but they're close by actually. Oh, there goes, okay, I can see something now. Hang on, I'm going to put this on the other camera. Let's see if they're going to come in. That's interesting. You can't see that, but at the moment I think it was Pa who just took off towards the water. I don't know if he's going to get some food, so I'm still going to hang on a few minutes. Hopefully you'll be able to see something. I don't know, it's we'll see. If it does get too nasty, I'm going to break off and disappear very quickly. Looks like our two little ones, which are, oh, there goes another poop. Yeah, they're getting hungry. And probably Pa knows that. Now it's getting really windy up here. It's getting a bit nasty. Amazing what resilience eagles actually have. Get quite seasick if you were up there. I'm already getting seasick here. I've got it a lot better than they do. Yeah, sometimes the camera was out of focus, sorry about that. There's a lot of flapping going on. Sorry, it's getting really nasty up here. So I'll sign off for now, and maybe I'll do it tomorrow morning. I cannot promise, it depends on the weather. Hopefully it'll be better, but I don't think the weather forecast is very promising. But we will get a lot more stable weather, and I think we'll get much more exciting things. Today was a quiet day for the eagles, but very windy up here. The last thing I saw was that Pa flew off somewhere in direction north. He may be fetching some food. I don't know where Ma is. I think Ma is on the south side of the nest. So I'm going to sign off now. Well, thank you for joining, and hopefully see you tomorrow morning. But again, I'll have to check the weather. So.